Ladies and gentlemen, we got some craziness going on. We got it going back and forth between the U.S. and Colombia. Tariffs, sanctions. Trump ain't playing. They're trying to deport people back to Colombia, but the ships are being turned around, people. So we got a lot of crazy news going on. So we're going to go through a few videos just to see what's actually going on out there in the world. Just be well informed, as we all know. I'm sure you all are very well informed, but we're going to jump into this anyways to get some info to see what's been going on, people. Let's go and head over to the war room, to the battleship. All right, let's go, people. Let's get started. All right, people, like we said, craziness going on. Colombia and the U.S. are going at it. It seems like Trump has put on some emergency tariffs, some emergency actions. And we're going to go over a few videos to see what they're saying, read what they're saying in these videos, and listen to see what's been happening. We're going to calm it down a little bit, just a little bit, tone it down just a very little bit. All right, we got that. So what we're going to do is go over a few videos. So first one we're going to go over is this one right here. And this is the Trump retaliates against Colombia. Then the next one, we're going to be going over Trump and El Salvador reaching an agreement for asylum seekers and things of that nature. So that's good right there, folks. So we got some good news as well. Not all doom and gloom. All right. And for the last one, we're going to go over again, reporting right back on emergency terrorists in Colombia, and that's from Times of India. So all these stories, we got Fox. Then we got Face the Nation, and then we got Times of India. So let's go, people. Let's get right into it. And let's get started. See what they're talking about. And as we all know,
we are following breaking news at this hour here on Live Now from Fox. You're taking a live look at the White House as we have learned that President Trump is now ordering action to be taken against the country of Colombia, saying, quote, "I was just informed that two repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, who is already very unpopular amongst his people."
So that's what's happening, folks. These are a lot of criminals trying to deport them. Colombia's like, we don't want them over here. So Trump's like, we not finna be paying for these fools. You telling me your criminals over here and we gotta pay for them? Nah. We ain't finna do this. So he said, all right, we want to pay for them? All right, cool. Y'all gonna pay us a lot of money, what it seemed like to me. Let's go.
His denial of these flights has jeopardized the national...
This is just the info I'm gathering so far. Seems like that's what's happening, folks, but let's continue. Let's go.
Security and public safety of the United States. So I have directed my administration to immediately take the following urgent and decisive retaliatory measures. And he also just shared that information in a social media post. Some of those measures include an emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States. In 1 week, the 25% tariffs will be raised to 50%. Also issuing a travel ban and immediate visa revocations on the Colombian government officials and all allies and supporters. Visa sanctions on all party members, family members, and supporters of the Colombian government. Enhanced customs and border protection inspections of all Colombian nationals and cargo on national security grounds. Treasury, banking, and financial sanctions to be fully imposed. President Trump saying, quote, "These measures are just the beginning. We will not allow the Colombian government to violate its legal obligations with regard to the acceptance and return of the criminals they forced into the United States."
So it seems like, people, again, we're here to get the info and bring it right back. We're ricocheting the info out to you, people, ricocheting it, all right? So what's going on here is pretty much this right here. Agree or don't agree with it, whatever the case may be. This is the news. This is what's happening, folks. Pretty simple. And so the gist of it, they're going to hammer down on Colombia when it comes to terrorists, when it comes to sanctions. They're revoking visas for all the government. They're doing a bunch of stuff, but the main thing here is the rolling terrorists. They're not going to stop. So every week they don't comply or they don't agree with taking these people back, the terrorists are just going to keep increasing. They're not going to stay where they're at. They're on a rolling basis. So every week it seems like if they don't take these people in, Trump's like, we're just going to keep raising the terrorists in. Y'all going to suffer dramatically if y'all don't take these criminals. Are these criminals really worth it? They're your citizens. They're not our citizens. They committed crimes here in the U.S. after getting here. So that's what he's saying. Take them back or we're just going to keep increasing the sanctions. Or the terrorists, my bad. And I assume other things he said, it's going to keep getting worse. So I imagine that's more than just increasing the terrorists every week. But that's not mentioned as to what else they could possibly do. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more. But anyways, let's continue.
This is a look right here of the social media post.
So let's just read this real quick. I don't know if they'll read it, but we'll read it. I was just informed that 2 repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals. He's making that a point. They're illegal criminals. So they didn't just come here illegally. They're also criminals here in the U.S. after getting here committing crimes. Were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro. Of course, you know, Trump he got to throw his jabs in there. So he's calling him a socialist. Yeah. But anyways, who is already very unpopular amongst his people. Again, Trump's got to throw them jabs out there. Oh, he throw them jabs. He don't care. Let's go, people. Let's go. Petro's denial of these flights has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States. So I have directed my administration to, that's blocked out by the logo, but I'm guessing that says actively take the following urgent and retaliatory measures. And then we have somebody just going over what they are. Trump released a statement, more severe retaliatory moves against Colombia, 25% tariffs. So that's the number, 25%. Travel ban, visa sanctions, enhanced CPP inspections, financial sanctions. So the 25% tariffs are just going to keep increasing every week if they don't comply.
That he just issued there on Truth Social. That's on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, that is a social media post by a Fox News journalist, Bill Maluzhin. As we continue to follow this breaking news, as we have learned that President Trump now ordering action to be taken against Colombia after 2 flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. President Trump saying that the order was given by Colombia's president and his denial of these flights. President Trump writes, quote, has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States, and therefore he has ordered his administration to take a number of retaliatory measures, including emergency tariffs, a travel ban, revoking visas, sanctions, and also financial sanctions.
So people, that's pretty much it for that one in particular video. As we see what the situation is, a lot of craziness, sanctions, and yeah, so let's get on to the second video, which will be El Salvador has reached an agreement with us. So maybe this would be more enlightening news and not much, fighting, or I guess you could say tussling between nations. Let's see what we got here. It says Trump eyes asylum agreement. Oh, he eyes. So I guess that means he hasn't actually gotten it yet. But we'll see what they report here and see what they say. So let's get this one started, folks.
We're joined now by CBS immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez, who is arguably the busiest person in the entire CBS bureau right now. Camilo, I want to have you bottom line some things. I understand you have new reporting about some of the plans for migrants being deported.
That's right. We can report that the Trump administration is currently working on striking an asylum agreement with the country of El Salvador to deport migrants from different countries across Latin America to the small country in Central America. This would be a so-called safe third country asylum agreement that would empower U.S. immigration officials, Margaret, to deport non-Salvadorian migrants to El Salvador with instructions to seek asylum there and not in the U.S. Importantly, I am told that one plan under consideration, it would allow the U.S. to deport Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang members to El Salvador and have that country house them or detain them. And that would obviously be a significant development and breakthrough potentially for the administration because, as you know, Venezuela right now currently does not accept the U.S. deportations. And so the administration is moving aggressively and quickly to really oversee a sweeping crackdown on immigration. We have seen the president invoke sweeping constitutional powers to essentially shut down the asylum system at the border. And he is also enlisting the vast resources of the military to really enhance immigration enforcement, not only deploying more troops, but using military planes to deport migrants. And yes, there have been so far 1,500 troops deployed to the border, but one internal Customs and Border Protection memo we obtained, Margaret, shows that that number could rise to as many as 10,000 active duty troops.
Ooh, so I mean, this seems pretty interesting. So they're struggling to deal with El Salvador to take a lot of immigrants. I guess I can't recall what the term is called. Third country. I guess it's just like if you're seeking asylum, you're supposed to go to the first country of refugee, that you come across, not skip, not pass through 2-3 countries and go to the one that you want to go to. That's not how it's supposed to work. Refugee, people trying to get refugee. They're not supposed to skip a bunch of countries on their way to a country that they want to go to. It's like, no, if you're going for refugee, you don't get to pick and choose which country you want to go to. That's not how that works. You're supposed to go to the first country of refuge, the first country of safe passage is where you're supposed to go. And since you're going through these other countries, I would assume they're safe passage because you're getting through them safely, So, well, for them, I mean, not really. There's a lot of cartels and coyotes, and that's a whole nother story, right? But anyway, it seems like El Salvador is making an agreement to take in a lot of illegal immigrants, especially criminal aliens from here in America, and allow them to be deported to El Salvador. I'm not sure if he actually stated all the actual rules of that agreement, the policy, whatnot, but just the gist of it, the basic general rules of the agreement. Seems like El Salvador would take not only El Salvador people who are being deported, but they'll also take, seems like neighboring South American countries like Venezuela. They're saying that Venezuela is not currently taking immigrants that we try to ship back to Venezuela. So I would assume that because of what just happened to Colombia, that Venezuela is probably not too far behind on a chopping block when it comes to Trump getting ready to impose a bunch of sanctions and tariffs against them for not accepting the Venezuelan deportations. But maybe not, because El Salvador is willing to take those people in and harbor them or jail them, whatever, right? So we'll see, not harbor them, but take them in and, whatever. So we'll continue.
There's so much that you just laid out there. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to go to El Salvador in the coming days. So I imagine it's related to the news you just broke here. And TDA is the gang we were just talking about with the congressman as well. In terms of how the U.S. military is being used, President Biden left 2,500 U.S. troops at the border. So what's actually different now that there's an extra 1,500?
Well, the work is not changing. What is changing is the number of troops on the ground. They are still assigned to do logistical and operational work and to assist Customs and Border Protection in an operational capacity by, for example, setting up border barriers to repel migrants from entering the country illegally and providing surveillance. They are not to be used to arrest or otherwise process migrants because, as you know, longstanding federal law prohibits the use of the military for civilian law enforcement, and that would include the enforcement of federal immigration laws.
So it's the optics, essentially, that this is...
It's a show of force by the Trump administration, rather.
See, I didn't know that. I knew the military can do certain things, but I didn't know they couldn't, arrest people coming across the border illegally. I figured that's... but I guess that's not a military. They're not military combatants. At least we don't think they are. They're military age. A lot of military aged men coming across the border, but without properly knowing who they all are, we can't really. They're just civilians, nonetheless. So what he's saying is the military is not actually being used to arrest illegals coming across the border. They're not there to confront them. I would assume obviously if they start shooting at them, they would obviously probably. And knowing the military, they probably wouldn't start shooting back. They would probably call in and ask for permission to shoot back, knowing the military. But nonetheless, they're not there to engage and nothing like that. They're just there for support, building barriers and logistics and things of that nature. So that's what the military is for. And they're shipping more down, as you all heard.
And what, in terms of the changes, have occurred in terms of use of military? We were hearing about lots of deportations. Now it seems we're getting reports daily of military planes carrying migrants to Guatemala.
That's right.
An attempt, apparently, to Colombia as well.
That's right. So the administration has already used military planes to deport migrants to the country of Guatemala. And overnight, it attempted to send 2 military aircraft to Colombia, sending about 160 deportees from that country to Bogota, Colombia, the capital. But we are told now that the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, objected to the use of military planes and blocked those deportations. So this shows that the administration will still face significant diplomatic challenges as it tries to oversee this aggressive immigration plan.
The Biden team was deporting to those countries. They were using civilian aircraft.
ICE charter flights, correct.
So the military planes were the problem there.
And again, it's a show of force by the Trump administration.
All right.
So it looks like what it is, people, and that's just the gist of it, people. We're gonna go back to the main spot. All right, it's the same stuff, right? But anyway, it seems like when it comes to, they are using military aircraft to bring the, to transport the migrants. I mean, that makes sense. Military aircraft, there's not much seating in them things. They can take all the seating out. You can do any plane really, but the military aircrafts are pretty, especially like the C-140s and things of that nature. You can easily take like the seats out and they're pretty customizable, as to how they are on the inside. But anyways, they're pretty big planes. They're, and they can carry a lot of stuff. So that's a good, transportation mechanism to carry a lot of people out. But now I don't know if he's saying at the end if maybe the reason why they turned them away is because they were military airplanes and they didn't like how they were looking. I don't know, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like they can call them up, say, hey, it's just us bringing people back. So they knew what they were for. So I don't really buy that as an excuse if that is one, or if that's what they were trying to say. I wasn't sure. But anyways, this is Be Well Informed People. We are here to just recite the information. We may make some comedy, some jokes, make it a little fun, try to at least. But nonetheless, regardless, we are here to present the info and explain it the best that we are receiving it and decoding it ourselves in our brain. We're trying to figure out what they're talking about. We're just regurgitating it back at y'all. We're doing the ricochet. But anyways, agents of info, this is it for this particular episode. We're out.